All right, I'm so grateful to be here with you all in the Rock Your Sacred Purpose Facebook group community. I've got an amazing person with me today, Therese Skelly. How are you today?
I'm fabulous. Thank you, my friend. Glad to be here.
So, yeah, I wanted to invite Therese on to share with you all here. She's really an amazing channel for understand what's going on with people and helping to nudge them along so you can be as fiercely brilliant as you are. And she's helped me with this for years, in different stages and phases of my life and business, and really has been a solid and extraordinary as well, go-to person who gives extraordinary support, very deep sacred heart energy, and she's really good at dialing in on diagnosing what's going on with someone and what wants to happen, and just seeing you, just claiming like this is who you are, remember. And that's one of the great things I love about Teresa. Anyway, so I just thought I'd start open with all of that, Teresa, and yeah, let's start to get into it a little bit. What is it, with your background and whatnot? What's drawn you to do this work, helping people these days with visibility and self worth and
Yeah.
everything, especially women?
So I started out as a psychotherapist. And so I have a deep, deep, deep understanding, Daniel, as you understand too yourself, right, of the mindset and the emotional issues. And then when I became a coach in 2001, and then I moved into business coaching a few years after that, it was my own journey. Because as much skill as I had, and I had fabulous training and certifications and mentors and all that, I bumped into all my stuff, right? So that literally they say, you teach what you need to learn. And so for me, even though I had the technical skill, I could do it for other people. What I discovered is that I couldn't own my value. I didn't own my value because of whatever, right? That, like, the stuff in my history. And I had a really hard time figuring out how to show up authentically, like really hard time. And back in the day, 2 decades ago, it was a very different arena, right? It was pretty, like, it was still, you wore suits and you didn't say bad words and you didn't say goddess. You didn't, it's very much the bro network kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I started working with women because, for me, having gone through all this stuff and wanting women to never have to stay in a relationship they don't want to be in, or be dependent on somebody else for their money, or I want our generations of daughters to go, why can't you be the CEO? Why can't you have everything you want, right? So that's
Right.
why. And so along the way, in addition to the psychology and the business coaching, I have this crazy, wild, wonderful intuition. And so my intuition, I'm an intuitive. And so that's kind of the magic piece that ties it all together. So not only do I help people, I can show, well, that's where it's stuck. That's what, like you say, what's possible. So it's the whole package. So.
Yeah, totally. And for those of you that come by and see us, if you'll just say hello to us, it'll be great. I
Yeah,
just have to admit that I don't know if we're streaming live. It says that we are, so
it's
I
who
just
we
don't
are.
see it.
So
I don't see it on the group, but I'm going to trust that it's there. And if it's not, well, it is what it is today.
it
So
is
we're
what it is.
unleashing all the same. Okay, so Teresa, that's great you said that. Yeah, there's the whole goddess movement really got cooking, 10, 20 years ago or something like
Yeah.
that. And you use that term that really stood out to me. And there's this whole shift from, oh, we lost Therese. Okay. So hopefully we'll see her come back. Oh, Melanie's here. Thank you for your reaction, because I was starting to wonder, if is this thing actually going live? Greetings from sunny Iowa, USA. So I'm sure Teresa will be right back. There she is. We're gonna bring her right back to the stage.
I had a
Wow.
technical moment.
Okay, we
Sorry.
got Melanie. We got a responder. Melanie Hoffner is in the house.
Hi, Melanie.
Woo, woo. All right. Visibility. We're giving you maximum visibility. She's
Right,
in
nice.
your brain. She knows you. She's a channel herself. She hides it a little bit, but we're here to help her unleash on every level of what she is here to do. So we're talking about the goddess movement, and yeah, this with women and everything. And I just think the old idea is the men take the lead, right? Go out in the world and do all this stuff, and really, I mean, we get down to the basics, like the meat and potatoes of the issue, and let him go out and shine, let him do his thing. I'll stay back more. Like in the collective, it's been that way.
Yeah.
Not that long ago. We think 100 years is a long time ago. Not really that
In my
long.
lifetime. In my lifetime,
Right.
absolutely.
Right. Even
Yeah.
in our lifetimes, right? So now we've got going from this sense of I don't want to call it toxic masculinity, because I don't know. I bristle at that term sometimes, but this overwrought tension of we got to make things happen masculine. I would put it that
Right.
way, maybe. And so we've had that, and we haven't had, this idea that women as leaders is really still a newer idea. I mean, even though now there are a lot of people, social media, everything, there's still those fears of visibility, especially for healers and coaches as well. But people that have something really different to share, and it's intimidating to get out there and to do that, especially as women. So what are some of the top fears you've noticed women have? Like, I'm just kind of
Right.
babbling
Right.
on here.
Right. Okay, let me put a little structure to this, my friend. So when I think visibility, so let me just clarify visibility, because that's a really important distinction, right? Because a lot of people think visibility is more followers or more impressions. And that's one metric, right?
Mhm.
But have you ever seen somebody online and you look at their stuff and they're posting like feverishly, and you're like, I don't even know who you are. I can't feel you. And particularly for a female audience, or for somebody that's heart-centered, mission-driven, the most important thing, I say, it's more important to be seen than it is to be visible. Right? And so it's easy, Daniel, to put up memes and inspirational quotes. You'll notice a lot of pictures of my cute dog and cute boyfriend. We can populate our feeds with that, but what's hard is to really be seen for warts and all, for quirks and all, for things that might polarize, things that are like, ooh, the edges, the truth of you. That is harder. So I just have to distinguish that at the beginning, because anybody can just go, okay, let's make a content calendar, 3 posts on Instagram, blah, 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 blah. But do your people feel your soul? Do they have the sense of like, oh my gosh, oh, I love his energy. Oh my God, I would totally vibe with her. That's what I'm after, because I don't want just shit thrown against the wall, right? I want you to be the pure truth that you are here to be in the world. And that's where it gets a little squishy, because like you said, I was raised. So a lot of this comes from, the epigenetics, what we bring in. I am the product of an Irish immigrant, first, my grandma came from Ireland, and literally there's a saying that says, I don't want to be putting on airs. Okay, what that means is don't be talking about yourself. Don't think you're better. Don't draw attention. What is marketing? It's all that, right? Some cultures have the tall poppy. If you shine, you're getting chopped. Some of us, well, let's say all of us in the healing space, in the past life, we've been killed, right? And so this is all living, and that's not even in your birth. Like, that's just ancestral stuff. Like, so you already come in loaded with, holy shit, this is going to be scary, and it could be dangerous, or I could be rejected or exiled. And then you come into this current life, and you might hear messages. It's better to be what? Like I had a client one time that said, oh, her family said, oh, you're the pretty one. You can get married. Your sister's the smart one. How do you think it was for her to market her business?
Right.
One waiting on a man to save her. There's so much in the culture, so much in our religion, in our families, right? If you're this like delightful little extrovert that's like, yeah, and you've come from a family of introverts, you're going to get shamed. Whenever I'm in a women's group, I say, raise your hand if you've ever been told you're too much, too intense. And we have been suppressed. Some could say that's the patriarchy. We don't have to go there, but we self-suppress. This is crazy. I read it just recently this week. If a woman a qualified woman is faced with a task, like 50%, only 50% of the time will she, like, look at a job. Let's say she's going to apply for a job. She's like, 50% of the time she'll think she's worthy. Men, 93% of the time, like, oh, hell yeah. You know what I mean? So boys are socialized differently, at least people over 40, I think. They're different.
Yeah.
No, you just go do it. Who cares if you fail? Whereas women are very often like, oh, it's got to be right. You got to make sure everybody's okay. So those are a lot of the backgrounds of why it's so hard to be visible. And especially, Daniel, if you are up for sale, like, did you hear how Daniel marketed me in the beginning? Ooh, you should be doing my publicity. Like, I was like, doing all my introductions. I might not say that as big and bold as Daniel did. When you are a service-based business and you're up for sale, a lot of people bump into, I can't really say that, because like our brilliance lives in our blind spot. We're like, everybody knows it. It's not that big of a deal. So those are the foundational pieces as to why it's difficult and why people get stuck.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of comments from Melanie. She's been saying agreed. She just said, Daniel told me about those past lives as a healer. That is resonating so much. Must be right, quote unquote, right. Yeah, I think here's the interesting thing. Almost everything you're saying like resonates for me as well, though. So there's a lot. There's always like, I always say this on my men's podcast. Like, yeah, probably a lot of what I'm saying resonates for the women too, though. Like, there's X% that's specific to the gender, but yeah, the visibility and everything, and for women as the idea of as nurturers, and you gotta create the. We've got to create the nest or whatever, or I don't know, like as mothers especially, right? And we want to make sure everybody's, feels good, taken care of, and all that sort of thing. And so why would I be the one to step out into the forefront? But then you've got what? Joan of Arc, you got modern day examples too. You got all these different ones. People are very visible, very much so. But I love like what you talk about with the connection, like, I think that's something that I have been good at, but been very bad at as well at times, where I'm just, okay, I got to get that marketing thing out there. And you lose the connection. And when the connection, posts come out or whatever, and people feel that, people always respond better. They buy more, they respond more, they like it more or whatever, right? And so a lot of it is there's this thing for men and women of not thinking we can just be ourselves and be fully connected and just show up as who we are and let it be enough, right? And
isn't it so weird? It's so weird.
Yeah, isn't it weird? It dips into things like I know you talk with the self-worth part, right? Like maybe I won't, maybe I'll be rejected.
Well, it's like if you were raised, we'll go back to the origin stories, right? If you were raised in a family that was stable and you don't have all the epigenetic or the trauma coming in, which we all do a little bit, but you could trust that your needs were met and that you were valued. And so therefore that there's an internal core of like, of course I could try that. Why can't I do it? That everybody's for me. Life works. Whereas if you were raised in a situation where your needs weren't met, you don't have the core of who I am is fundamentally okay. I call this word shame, and nobody loves the word, but if you have suffered from trauma, sometimes even the little small t trauma, maybe you were bullied as a child, or maybe you had that heartache when that marriage ended, whatever. You don't have to have big massive traumas. It's the little tiny traumas that actually are the little micro ones that add up. But the sense of I'm not enough, and we all have some degree of that. And sometimes David Nagel says, new level, new devil. So let's say you're at, making 70 grand. You're like, cool, I'm doing great. And then it's like, but I want to do 150. Shit, what do I know? Right? Like, so whenever there's a new level, it's like, which is normal. And that's totally fine. And so that's the work. Because as you know, Daniel, it's a combination of strategy and energy. And strategy is maybe 10%, because you and I know how to do strategy. Boom, 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 boom. Get people in front of you, serve them well. It's the energetic piece. How do you own your value? How do you understand and hold? And I can tell you the how if you want, but because that's a really important piece of it. See, it ties together. If you're not owning your value, visibility is impossible or difficult or you're going to just partially show because you got to be perfect. You're going to be comparing, so to be like fully, like even you, I'm like, dude, you're not showing yourself. Like, come on. Right? And it's
Yeah.
scary because you're like, oh, because we all are taught like play safe, like raise your hand, ask for permission. Is this acceptable? And I'm like, fuck that. Like at this age, at this stage, we don't need people asking for permission. It's like, oh, hell to the no. Like that's one of the things I love is with my women. I'm like, oh, you go do. I'll say those things because we have been so, and even you too, like you this wild power and you this fierceness and you it's like, oh, but what are people going to think, right? We contract. And so
Yeah.
I'll let you respond. Then I do want to talk about how to own your value because that it's like you can't have one without the other, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's so true that many of us have that, fierceness and whatnot, like you're referring to. And yeah, I mean, honestly, sometimes a lot of things are true. Sometimes people are attracted to my soft, loving nature, and they just melt. And sometimes they need that fire, like to the utmost. All right, shut up. Let's get almost like a shut up, like shut it right now. All right, here's what we're doing. Here we go. And
Lovely. I love that.
they're like, oh yeah, this is what I'm looking for, right? They're like, some people are, that's what they're looking for, whereas we're in our own head, like thinking like, oh my God, maybe that's too much. Because I was told the same thing indirectly, like you're too much energy, you're too much this, you ask too many questions, too much, it's always too much, right? Too much. And it's just like, no, I mean, yeah, you're right. It's like, get over, it's like, it's just like, we've got to get over it. And people are reacting to us. They've got to get over it because they're just in a contract, right? In a collective that's saying we're all too much. We need it all, tone it down. And that's exactly part of the problems we're having right now, isn't it?
And you and I are the disruptors. We're like, oh, hell to the no. Because think about it. Imagine going to the end of your life going, whew, thank God I never pissed anybody off. Like, that's not, no, right? If we literally are going to change things, because we're given unique voices, we're given unique things that are just our platforms. We're like, oh, I'm going to fight about this one. Like, I'm so committed to making sure this injustice is solved or these people are helped. Why would we tamp that down? Like that's the revolutionary part, like that we have to be. And so we are not for everybody. We're not for everybody. and that's okay, right? So those who are called are going to come to more like revolutionary leaders like you and I, who are going to be like, oh no, you're not going to just sit there playing safe. Not on our watch, right? So we're going to talk about how to own your value. This is really important.
Let's do it. Let's talk about owning your value.
Okay, own your value. And think about that. Like if I would say, how much do you own your value? People are like, ugh. Nobody thinks about that question, right? I think you should think about that question. Scale of 1 to 10. What I do with my clients, because I use a pendulum, I can tune into energy. I can literally go, ooh, you're only at a 4. And then I can figure out why. And I can free that. You might not have access to that, or you might. Because I think there's a wisdom in your body. You could say, scale to 10. How much am I owning my? And what I mean by that, like if you look at the great athletes, the great musicians, the great artists, let's say LeBron James, he's not sitting in there going, oh, what's he going to think if I make that free throw? Oh, but he won't be shining. Like it's just, it's art, it's magic, it's flow. That's what I mean by owning your value. When you step up to whatever your platform or whatever your stage is, it's effortless. And you have the ability to deliver it. You have the right to deliver it. And it's like, so as opposed to, is this enough? Is it okay? Like, and there's no judgment because I've been there, you've been there. Like that's the evolution process, right? We don't just start the whole thing. We're kind of like the Michelangelo, right? We got to chip away all that's not, right? And that's the specialty I have. Like I can chip away all that's not to get the pure essence of you out in the world. So the first thing, number 1, if you have the desire to do something, the way must be provided. So think about, I always say all your life experiences, everything you've gone through, everything you've learned, suffered with, lost, all the shit, all the good, all is part of what makes up the package of you. So Daniel being told he's too much, trauma that you went through, trauma that I went through, that's magnificently woven into the fabric so that your soul could go, cool, you're going to use all that. That's school. That's life school. Boom, this is your work. But so many of us are like, well, I need another certification. Well, I don't know. I should take another process. I got to learn a methodology. And because some people just love to learn. That's cool. But when you're, I'm not enough until I'm not, stop. Do you really need 17 modalities? If you love to learn and just like, it's super fun, that's totally fine. But if it's, I need another modality so that people finally approve of me, so that I'm worthy. That's shame. Shame is a great lie that teaches you you are not enough. Okay. So if you just go, wow, I was born to this, to do this, I would love this, therefore I am enough, I have enough. Obviously, when you're starting a business, you have to learn things, you have to develop the skills and have these, but that's the first one. You have the desire, it just is, it's inevitable. Does it make sense? You want to say anything?
Yeah, it's yes, just yes. I love that what you said, the thing that got my interest the most, because I've launched a new program and everything, people are coming in, and yet there's, my mind will still say, yeah, geez, people are saying they want something other than this program, and what, maybe I need to change it, maybe I need to do this, maybe I should be doing something else. Like that's, just this time it's more like it's just momentary. It's
take you down.
okay, whatever, I'm committed to it, this is my work. Yes, I can tweak some things, but it's still the same, it's still basically the same thing. So okay, how, just looking at what needs to shift for the full alignment to be there within me, and therefore it shows up in the world. And then, the signal of who I truly am can show up in the world so loud, so strong, so clear that people really start coming in at the next level that I want them to. And then not only that, I've learned through past successes of launching things, once they start coming in and it really gets going, it gets really easy. It's like, whoa, they're just coming in, and they coming in because you've got that signal established, but people aren't usually willing to go through the discomfort in the sense of, I suck, this program sucks, whatever I'm doing sucks because it's not working. They won't go through that to get to the other side of establishing that frequency of, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, come on in, and that's so strong that it becomes easy ultimately, but you have to go through that fire, and a lot of people don't want to do that. You have to realize that's the fire of the Michelangelo, we'll call it for today, right? Get some more female references in there. Reveal the Michelangelo that's within all of us, and to chip away that fire, burns that away for us when we are willing to stay committed and stay the course of what we really do know is true. I think we delude ourselves. No, I need the 17 certifications. I need this. I need that. Is it the truth? Someone like Therese is going to, got their thing. Oh, I got you. Good, nice try. I'm really good at it. She's like, no, nice try. I'm not getting a yes on that.
I do. It's very fast, and it's true. Well, like, for example, like, we have the knowing, source, God, life. We know because we're getting the divine ideas. We're following the inspiration. We're following the guidance. And then we go, do you think this will sell?
Right.
Or I had a client yesterday, started with a brand new client yesterday, and she said, she came to me because she's hitting some blocks in her work, right? And the same pattern of being overlooked, undervalued, overlooked, right? And I said, why does it matter? Why do you want to get that promotion? And she said, to validate. And I'm like, to validate me? And I'm like, girl, okay, yeah, that's proving energy. That's shame. Wrong answer. So see, I'm like, thank God you're not getting it, because then it would just keep you on a hamster wheel of, I have to have the external acknowledgement. Oh, I'm okay now because they bought or they chose me, as opposed to, this is happening. I'm choosing, I'm calling it. And then I got to get myself right. I got to get my frequency right, my mind right. I got to calm the fuck down because it's scary. When the people aren't coming, then you start getting the doubts. That is, I call that launch trauma. We've all been there. It's like, as opposed to I'm staying here, I'm learning, I'm minding the lessons, everything's perfect, as opposed to, do you think it will sell? Maybe I should change the headline. Now, again, there are marketing rules. Sometimes you do testing, but what you talked about is exactly like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe it was wrong. And you got Mama T going, stop it. Stop it, Daniel. Do the Jesus work. Shut up, as you said earlier. Yeah, so that's it. It's just like when you have a desire, it's to be true. The second part of that desire, I love this. You need to know, because if you and I are exquisitely tuned in, we listen really, oh, okay, boom. Like it's our operating instructions, it's our orders, right? It's not from here going, oh my God. And sometimes it's like, I need this amount of revenue. You can make strategy. I'm not saying don't use strategy. You have to use strategy. I think it's best if you allow for the inspiration from within, from the divine, and then you go, cool, now I'll use my 3D logical brain to put form around it. Right? When you start creating out here, you miss all the divinity and all the sacredness and all the stuff we're supposed to, the yummy. But here's what you need to know. Somebody's out there praying for you. And not like, oh, I pray for all sentient beings. Oh, no. They're going, please, God, I'm stuck. I'm struggling. I can't do this another day. Please send some help. What if that is you? How dare you go, oh, but I don't want to offend anybody. And I don't want to say that. Girl, guy, come on. Like for me, that's the stuff that gets me out of bed. Because I know that I'm on a soul level. I have a contractual agreement. Daniel, you and I, brother, we have danced before, right? Like you were like, all right, the crazy redhead will help me get out the Jesus work, right? Whatever. So like I really believe on soul levels, we are contracted to like, okay, yeah, I'm the one to help. But what if I don't believe I'm enough? What if Daniel, when you've worked with me, I'm like, I don't know if I could say, I don't know if I could tell him to shut up and do the Jesus work. Like, I don't, and we're really good friends.
Your style necessarily, but you will be, you do
no, but I mean, what if I didn't own, and you're the one, Daniel helped me own this stuff, truly. Daniel was, let me tell about you. Daniel said, don't you know, people are healed just being in your energy. And I didn't know, because it took, I'm going to cry. It took me years to own this because I was in my own shame and not enoughness and how do you think I know this? I teach this because I've lived it. And Daniel was one of the first voices years ago that said, do you not see who you are? And he always reflects to me. So now I'm like a ninja.
Yes.
In essence, Daniel prayed for me to become the person that I could be to hold the space for him. Right? So, because literally Daniel was like, oh, I've got this work. And he worked with me before. And now he's doing the work of his soul. Right? Makes sense?
Yeah, totally. Do you have a dialing thing going on your side?
Yeah, somebody's WhatsApping me. Yeah,
right,
sorry.
Just making sure. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, no, it's a anyway.
Okay, so
somebody's
we're really dialed in. We're totally dialed in. We got this thing dialed in. Nailed it. Yeah, I mean, this is why I love you. It's like, even I was thinking this whole theme of Jesus is badass and everything. Like, I'm getting ready to present this, and part of me is thinking, oh my God, I'll get so judged. To say Jesus is a badass is like probably a mortal sin, and like somewhere in my brain is saying that. I'm not saying I believe that. I'm just saying like these ideas are around, and when you're like, who gives a shit? Just do it. Just do your thing. And the right people that are praying for someone to say that, they're the ones that are going to show up. They're the ones, but you have got to go first. You got to go first. You can't wait. Well, once they tell me it's okay, I'll show up. No, I mean, I think that's sort of a woman thing too. It can be men too, but like I said, I think it's more in the women. Like, well, once he shows interest, then I'll show up. And it's like, okay, you better, show up so he can show interest, or the customers in this case could show the interest. We have to show up in the first place, and just get over it and do your thing and just really go to those juicy places and not to water yourself down. I think that was so brilliant, Therese. And Melanie, we love everything you're sharing here. Have the desire, it's inevitable, she put in. I love divine synchronicity. chip away all that is not. She had put there in there all these different things. So Melanie, we're grateful for you and
Awesome.
for
Thank you.
posting all those things. And so I know we only have so much time together. I could go on for a long
I have
time.
one more point now. I have one more point, and it'll be fast.
Okay, well, you got one more point. All right.
We're
Okay, let's get that last
okay,
point.
number 3, how to own your value. Duh, this will be fast and easy.
Okay, all right.
Here's what happens. You have to understand this, right? Our souls want us to expand. I should be talking about Jesus as a badass. And then our brains are like, oh, sweet God, people are going to think you're nuts, right? So that's a subconscious. The subconscious always wants to keep you safe, small, stuck, right? So FYI, that's what I call the expansion zone. That's what I teach on. So you got these great gifts. You know who you're supposed to work with. You're skilled, and then you're going to charge. Gosh darn it, that charging money thing, right? Especially if it's like spiritual in nature. This is where people get like, I can give it away for free, but when we put money on it, except for Daniel. Daniel's a rock star. Daniel will raise your rates. He's badass in that. So what happens is, let's just say, so like Daniel was in a mastermind with me. I think I charged you $5,000, right? So I'm just going to use that. So imagine I'm like, that's the right number. It's gone up because it wasn't enough money. I've raised the rate for the rest of it. Anyway, so, okay, I'm going to charge
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to charge down to 5,000. Now, what happens to us is our brain kicks in and says, oh my God, $5,000 for only 6 months. I don't know. And we get transactional. Let's say you want to charge $500 an hour or, $7,500 for 3 months or whatever. Our brains, meaning the subconscious, starts going, but he's got a daughter in college and that's probably going to cost him a lot. And he's got grandchildren. Like our brain goes to their pockets basically. And so our brain, that's how the subconscious kicks off and tries to stop you. And so whenever you get into, can I charge this? You're in the transaction, and that called the gremlins are going to eat you alive. They're going to tell you all the reasons why you suck, why they can't, why it's impossible. You want to go the transformation. Daniel is the product today of a lot of my coaching. You can see him. He's actually doing, be a badass like Jesus work, which that's not the same word you're using. Heal, be like Jesus, whatever, lead like Jesus. That's the one. But when you think about the transformation is, okay, this happens. And then what? As a result, how does that change the family? How does that change the relationships? How does that change their confidence? How does it change next year or 5 years? So let's say I charge Daniel, I'm making up numbers. Let's not Daniel. Let's say I charge somebody $10,000. I would suspect in the next 10 years, they could 10x, 100x that. And if I'm like, oh, but 10,000 seems so much, but for the lifetime value, because they've created a new level, they're going to have more opportunities. I do business coaching, so people are earning more money, right? They're helping more people. And if I was like, oh, 10,000 so much, how are we going to pay? They're going to be missing out on the possible massive outcome. So if you think transformation, that's so good, so good. And then it helps you go, of course it's $10,000. Of course it's 5,000. This is what you're going to get. There. Quick.
Yes. Go for it, because there's always people that can, afford it. And there's always people where whatever the amount is, they're like, no big deal. Here you go. Like, so, yeah, totally. I mean, you want to go where I see all kinds of things online, right? People are like, give me $10 even, whatever, something today, all the way to what is 10 grand? Okay, I'll take it out of petty cash. So guys, it's don't allow yourself to get caught up in what you think people can afford, because then you just become a part of that frequency. You stay in that frequency. So just say yes to what source, your divine, is telling you. That's what Rock Your Sacred Purpose is all about. All part of that. Like, you got to listen and you got to follow through, and you've got to follow through on what you know to be true and not to back down. Don't give yourself to the gremlins, for sure. Stop that. Get in there. And I gotta say, having someone like Teresa in my corner has been helpful, for me to work through my own gremlins, which honestly, those little suckers, you get an infestation. I had an infestation recently, and it took me, I'm still working through some of it, but I had an infestation for a while there. And, I think Teresa could agree. Like, there was a time, for a number of years where, yeah, of course, I probably had some fears and doubts, but I was just like, whatever, all the time. I mean, I didn't have that going on, but like these suckers, they're sticky. They can get in there. And so that's where a lot of people are, right?
Here's
And
the
so,
thing though.
yeah,
You were selling something that was easy to sell.
yeah, it got to be really easy to sell. I'll
I'll
tell you
teach
that.
you how to do an energy scan. That was like, yeah, cool, easy. That wasn't as, I'm teaching how to be like Jesus. Do you see what I mean? So it's like new level, new devil. Like when you're here, you're like, I got
Yeah.
it. But when something new is birthed in you, and especially something that might be a little like, whoa, you're talking about what? Who are you to talk? Like what? Like when you're like that birth a new thing, the gremlins are like, okay, march over there. That dude's doing something new, right? And so that's why. That's why.
Wow. See, and this is what I love about Teresa. She's able to give us perspective on where we are, where we're going, why things are happening the way they are, and it makes sense right away, right? That's what I love about you as well. Okay, so yeah, Melanie's put in all kinds of things. Yeah, this is my thought process around pricing. Shifting focus from transaction to transformation is a powerful shift. Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. This is transformational. We're going to do transformational work. It's $40. You know, oh, is that transformational? I literally did have someone the other day because I charged them a lot for one thing. I asked them into, what I'm doing now. And even though that's a significant investment, she's like, indirectly, she says, well, that was a really badass offer. This, oh my God. So it's like instantly tells me that I'm going in the right direction because those prices are going up. Because I know if it's not badass enough with the pricing, the right people may say no. So she literally was telling me indirectly, she didn't say these words. Well, maybe if the pricing was higher, I would have been more interested, but it's a little too low. Indirectly, this is what she told me. And I'm like, that is so true. You have to be at the higher level. Like I'm that person too sometimes. I'm like, man, you're charging so little. How could I trust your services, right? So
I think you said that to me about 5,000. You told me that. You're like, I'm glad I'm getting this deal, but girl, it's not right.
Right, exactly.
You told me that.
She's definitely remedying that now. So I'm really grateful to see that.
Tripled it, baby.
Anyway,
Tripled.
We do need to start bringing a little bit of a wrap. So first of all, I would love for you to tell them about your membership, your Activate.
Yeah. So there's multiple ways of working with me, from $97 a month all the way to thousands, right? So there's private work, and then there's mastermind groups, and then I'm really proud of this community, Daniel. So this community is designed for the person that's probably under six figures or around. So we've got a couple six-figure players in there, but generally the people that are service-based. It's called Activate Community, and the tagline is activate your visibility and value, the things I'm talking about today. So it's business coaching. It's only $97 a month. Pretty much everybody in there right now is in the energy healing, coaching, therapist, kind of that space, service-based space. And we meet 3 times a month, and it's a magical community of just women. It is a women's thing only, women supporting each other. And we do, I'll just break into impromptu clearings, and we do, we just do, I can't even describe how magical it is. Like there's a lot of big breakthroughs. There's a lot of intimacy. It's a smaller group. And so I'm opening up spaces. So if you're interested in the Activate community, what I love about it is there are no long-term contracts. You're not locked in for 12 months. I mean, if you buy chunks of 6 months or 12 months, you get some free things. But you can just come for a month, leave, come for a few months. Like you're not locked in. So it's an easy way to start. And seriously, what my women get out of it is like they're making big strides, because you hear this, right? This is we do business training, we do business coaching, we do a lot of energy work and emotional stuff as well. So that's it. And you're
you can't go wrong. I mean, she absolutely is going to shift you. And if for the investment amount of what, 97, like, come on. I mean, like, you're going to get like such transformation, such shift, on that. And you better grab her while it's available, because she's on the up and up. She's got high level offers coming down the pike here and already established. So, this is a great way to just get started. It doesn't take long, right? Oh, let me tune in. Okay, it's like this, it's like that. Okay, you got your answer. Like, it's really fast. So definitely take advantage of this. Unfortunately, I just cannot find the live you guys on Facebook, although there's people here. So so we will post the link in there. Is there we'll post the link in there immediately afterwards, or I will also reach out, Melanie. Hey, if you want to go ahead and
Yes,
host that, that'd
Melanie,
be
I love
great.
you, Melanie. Come join us. You would fit in perfectly.
Yes, yes. So we'll get it up instantly here as we wrap. I just want to thank you so much for the contribution you are to my life, Therese, as as a colleague, as a friend, as a like a guide, mentor, I guess, coach, and all that, and that you're bringing that into the world at your next level, and that we travel together, that we support each other, and I could just tell you, like, really, there is not anybody that I feel has been more supportive by a long shot than Therese has been on my path in my work. So um, you want her in your corner. Absolutely. She's a go-to in my life. So I'm really
Thank
grateful.
you so much. It's been lovely. Thank you. This was really fun. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Peace and blessings, everybody. Take care.
All right. Lots of love, everybody. Bye for now.